All right, what's going on, people? This is Joel Cunningham with JC Assist once again. And in today's segment of Chat with the Pros, we're going to be speaking to David. I want to let you guys know that I took a different approach this time around. So for this interview, I'm going to be doing basically questions that I would ask someone who's of 22, 23, if I was leaving high school and about to start the next step of my career, whether it be to go to college or to start professionally after high school. So that is the approach that I took when asking these questions. What I'll do is I'll put up on Instagram the option for you guys to give follow-up questions, and then I'll ask those questions and follow up. So feel free to go on JC Assist Instagram page. I'll put the name in the name and the link to the page in the description below. And I look forward to hearing from you guys what you take on anything you guys want to ask. David is on now, so I'm going to invite David to the chat and we'll see what's going. David, are you seeing me?
Yeah, bro.
Good. How are you, David?
I'm good, my bro. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So, I don't know if you saw the last chat I had, but this segment of JCS's Chat with the Pros basically just to get insight on players who have started their careers and, their path towards being where they're at right now. So, First one starts out with your name, age, and where you're from, of course.
Hi, my name is David Nkansah-Siriboe. I am from Poughkeepsie, New York, and I'm 22 years old. I just turned 22.
High school. Which high school do you go to, and then what clubs have you played for since then, and schools?
So I went to Royce Ketchum High School, which is a locum high school next to me, and I was playing for a team called SPA, so Soccer Plus Academy, and they were a local team called the Poughkeepsie Heat, but they had just got bought out by a bigger academy who had more teams. So then we became Soccer Plus Academy. So this was like a team that had kids who I was playing with since I was 10, and now we're making the next step into high school. And my coach for that team was actually like a high school legend, a legend at our high school. He got All-American like twice and like all state and all these things. So he had connects with like the varsity coach and all these things. And I was one of our best players on the club team. So little backstory, that was my first ever club team, and I joined it when I was 12. But when I was 12, I was always a kid who loved soccer and like was watching it from like when I was very young and loved to play. But my parents hindered me from playing on a travel team because my dad was an administrator of the church. So church is always on Sundays and travel teams played on Sundays and only intramurals played on Saturday. So like my whole career I was playing intramural because it was on Saturday, and my parents never let me play travel. But when I got to the age of 12, they were like, all right, no problem. Like we'll let you this time. So I got the opportunity to play with this team, and I was actually very overweight when I joined that team, but like I loved to play soccer. So I was always with the ball. So like I knew how to play, and I would say I was pretty good with the ball. And so this coach picked me for the tryout. And then in our first ever tournament, like being overweight, I haven't played in like a real match before. I'm out here getting tired, winded, I can't run and all this stuff. But like the coach was getting on me for that. So I answered my critics of my coach by like scoring like a 30-yard shot because I could shoot. So then after that, he was like, yo, I want you to be like, I see you as one of our top 5 players going on for like the rest of the time. And these guys had been on the team for 3 years. So I was like, all right, this guy believed in me. So then I go and I'm with this guy, and he's my coach for 3 years from that time until high school. And there's 2 of us who are like the big players on this team, and we're both going to the high school. And he said that he could vouch for us to go on varsity. So I'm thinking going into tryouts, we would do captain's practice before, and I was playing with some of the older guys who were on varsity and who had graduated, and like keeping my own, like keeping up. So I was like, yo, I can do this. And then my coach for varsity, like he didn't know me, but the coach for JV knew me because he was my coach in modified. So he actually made me play center back during tryouts against varsity, knowing that I was a striker, just so that varsity wouldn't take me. And then the first scrimmage drill, when I played for JV, he put me as striker. I'm like, yo, this guy did this to me on purpose. But like it helped because that season of JV, like I scored 17 goals in 16 games, and then I got pulled up with like 4 games left to varsity. Then end up scoring in the first round of sectionals, like to take us to overtime. So then after that, I like cemented myself on varsity for like the rest of high school. And yeah, that was high school. That was high school was good. I got like all section awards and honorable mention from sophomore year, but then I got all section and all league from junior year going. And then with club, our club team was good, but like not being academy in the US, you don't get to get the looks like other teams. Like we didn't get to go to as many showcases because our club name was too small, so our club couldn't get us in. So no matter the quality of the players, because our club was too small, we didn't get to play against like bigger academy teams. So we would go and we'd be in the lowest level bracket for the tournament. So college coaches really aren't going there. But so that was the toughest thing for high school soccer. And one of my friends who was teammates with me on this Poughkeepsie team was Tyler Adams, who now plays for Red Bull Leipzig. And we were teammates together, but he made the jump, and he was bold enough to go and say like, yo, I'm gonna try out for Red Bulls. And that was the year I was going into high school. He's 1 year younger than me, so but he was playing with us, so he made that jump when he was 13. Now I was turning 14 to go to Red Bulls, and then he never turned back from there. So that was always one thing I was like, I wish I had that opportunity to at least go and try out instead. And like, because I think if I had tried out at the age of 14, because 14 was when my real development start, if I was around like a team and coaches who could really have molded me, it would have been a different situation now. But I mean, we thank God for like where we've gotten now and through the experience in high school, because I did learn a lot in high school too. So that was high school and that was club. And then from high school and club, it's a very interesting story. So high school senior season ends. We had a good team, but shambles in playoffs. Like we lost in the first round. So high school really didn't prove very productive like the season, because it didn't really, like, we didn't go far enough for us to get big looks. And then we had one more showcase left after our high school season ended for my senior year, one more college showcase, and I didn't have a school set down. Like I had offers from like SUNY Oneonta. That was like the best D3 school in like the country. They were like going to the final four of nationals like consistently, and they wanted to recruit me, and like the coach really wanted me, but I was like, nah, bro. Once I got into high school, I was like, yo, I'm playing D1. Like it's either D1 or nothing. So I was literally on the verge of being like, yo, soccer's over. I'm just gonna go to college for college if I can't go D1. And then the last showcase, like we played against some good teams in PDA showcase, and by God's grace, Joel, I'm telling you, the Marist coach came to recruit my friend who was on my team, and I happened to be playing very good in that match and scored like 2 goals in the first half, and well, got an assist. So then my coach subs me out, and I was furious because I'm like, I'm on my hat trick, and you're subbing me out. This is ridiculous. Because I didn't know. I was like, it's the last day of the showcase, so I was like, if nobody hit me up by now, I'm like, I'm just gonna play and then go home. So then my coach subs me out, and I'm like, I'm trying to get my hat trick, but then he subs me out. He's like, the Marist coaches are right behind me, and they talked to me, and they said that they're interested in you. I'm putting you back in the second half, get the hat trick, and then I think it's gonna be sealed for you. So then we go in the second half, play well. Like even didn't even get the hat trick, but I was just so buzzed. I was so happy that I was buzzing like in the second half. Like we played well, we won, and then that Monday, because that last game was on Sunday, the Monday the Mariners coach called me, And like, bro, no hezzy. The guy was like, all right, send me like your financial information and stuff like that. And then the next day, dude came with an offer of 90% scholarship. So I was like, thank you, God. There it is. Then that made senior year of high school, took all the stress away. I was like, I know where I'm going to play football. Then from there, bro, it's like I skipped a gear. I was like, all right, I got D1 now. Now it's on to the pros. Then I started studying like how pros live, how pros eat, how pros train. And then like my mindset completely like jumped one, like didn't even consider what college was gonna be. And then it just jumped to straight to how pros act. Cause I'm like, I'm one step closer. So that was a jump. That's how high school and club went.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like go to college and then go up
Go to
to,
college? Okay.
yeah.
And I went into college not really expecting anything, but like I told you, I was expecting like my mindset was now like stuck on the pros. So I was like, all right, I just gotta like go in and out of college and then just get pro. So I didn't really come in with like the right mindset. So not with the mindset initially of like, yo, I gotta learn and get used to it. So I didn't. I was like, yo, like technically when we had to do individual drills, because I was doing them a lot, like technically I was advanced and I could keep up and like do better than some of the guys, but like I did not take into account like the match experience and like the change of pace in the match and intensity. So like that's what caught me off guard in training. So in trainings, the first trainings, I was like, yeah, because of physically, like I would like to say like I'm strong, so like I could keep up like physical and like fitness wise and technique wise, but like tactical awareness, where to be in the match and where to be in the game and like how to stay involved. Like I was struggling with that. And then so freshman year, I would get in like every single game, like the last 10, 15 minutes of the half, come in, make the difference. When we played against UNCW, that was like our biggest tournament when we went away to that tournament, UNCW, and against Wilmington as well. Like I scored my first goal against Wilmington and it was huge. And then we beat Dayton also, and I started in that match, so it was really good. That was probably the high of freshman year, but then the rest was always frustration because I'm like trying to figure out how to get into the game, how to get into the starting lineup. So I was like, okay, in that winter time, I was like, yo, I'm gonna train a lot, train and work on the stuff that I maybe wasn't as efficient in during the season, so that spring season comes and I'll be the starting striker. And then I worked really hard and was really focused. And then spring season came, and then I was starting in the attack, and we played 6 games and started every single game, played like 90 minutes every game, so that was good. And then from that, I got the platform to be able to play for Kingston Stockade because they wanted Division 1 players to play for their MPSL team because they wanted to get a bit stronger. I trained so hard that summer because I'm like, all right, this is junior year. We have a good team and like we're prepared. We can do some damage. Like we could win the conference. But like I'm seeing guys who like didn't come in with the same preparation. And not even just that, like I felt like I was super prepared. And then I was playing great in preseason too. And the coach tells me like, yeah, man, like you're doing great, but we're gonna start this guy because this guy who was on the striker for my freshman year, and he was joint top scorer in Division 1 my freshman year. He transferred, had some issues with the other team, then came back. And this is like, I'm like, yo, this is my year. And then he comes back, and then coach puts him straight into the starting lineup. Guy's not fit, guy's not ready. I'm like, yo, you can't do that to me, man. So the first 4 games that really like hit me, and like we went to a trip in California, and like we had 2 games. He played me 10 minutes in one game, and then the next game he didn't play me, and I was like, all right, bet. On the plane home, I was like, I have 2 options. I can sulk and be like, yo, this guy just hates me. He's a hater. I don't care. Or like when we get back, like I just put my head down and I just work hard. Bro, let me tell you, Joe, I was fighting and training, running, kicking, scoring, dribbling, doing everything I can. And then, but like still with the mindset of like, yo, like this guy's a hater. So like I use that as like a bit of fuel. And then randomly one day we had Fordham the next day. And then he says like, yeah, I'm completely switching up the lineup because we got battered by URI 3-0. He's like, I'm completely switching up the lineup because Fordham is ranked number 10. So I'm like, yo, man, another game on the bench is coming up. Even if I was doing good in training, but it's like availing nothing. But then he randomly throws the green penny to me when we were about to do 11v11. I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to be on the bench squad, so it's time to kill the starters. So I'm here joking with the bench guys, and then he throws the penny at me. And I looked at the other guys around me. I was like, yo, I think that was for you. And then they're like, nah, that was for you. And then I was like, I'm not taking it. And he's like, I'm not taking it either. And then I was like, all right, I took it. Then I went in the training, and the coach was like, yeah, I'm going with you. And then we went to the Fordham match, played mad good in the Fordham match, like very good in the Fordham match. And then from there, just started for the majority of conference and going in, but like going to getting like, I think 2 games before the conference like playoffs, like coach started being Fugazi again. And he started like doing these like, limiting the minutes and like starting things. And I was like, okay. But then once again, switch that mindset on. I was like, all right, I'm going to be serious in training and like prove to him like, yo, you're missing out if you don't play me. So then he ended up playing me in the guy who he thought was going to play better than me in the semifinal match. He actually was playing trash in the match. So then he put me in, and then when I went in, the game changed. We came back from being 3-2 down, and then we started dominating in extra time. Then we got a penalty in extra time. Like, we could have won and everything, but then we missed. So we went into penalties. We could have been in the finals, but then we ended up getting knocked out. And then our season was over. But one of my teammates had gotten hit up by an academy in Spain called Genova International School of Soccer. So he had, I think, like, he was our top scorer that season. So he got like mad accolades, and like his name was known around here. So, but like we had trained together, like we trained together, all our individual trainings every day, like together. So like we were close friends. So if our coach didn't know my quality, he was like, yo, I know your quality. So I got hit up for this, and I'm like, I don't want to go by myself. And like, I think that if you go too, this will be a good opportunity for you because college soccer is not giving you what you deserve. So I was like, okay. So then we thought about it, we pondered over it, prayed about it, and I showed it to my mom. It cost 3,000 euros to go and have the housing and everything and stay there for a month in Madrid and like train in Leganés facilities and with the Leganés under 23s and these things and play matches. So I was like, bro, 3,000 euros is a lot. Like, I don't know where I'm going to get that from. And my mom's like, yeah, like this soccer thing, like if you're going to do it, like, it's like, yo, like God, she literally said that. She's like, God has to provide for you. So I was like, oh man. I was like, all right. I prayed about it, and then I got an idea to ask the people at my church to help me fundraise because they're like family for me, and they've known me from a youth to love soccer, and they're all be rooting for me. So then I just asked a bunch of people from church who I knew who knew I play soccer, and then like by God's grace, out of the 3,000 that I needed, I raised 1,400. I raised 4,500. So then I had like money over to like sustain me for the month as well. So then I was all set. Then we got there. My friends were already there. And then we get off, like we're training. And the first day of training, they're like, some kids had been there for like 3 months and never got an opportunity to train with the Leganés under 23s. But I trained one day with the academy, Genova. And then the coaches were like, yo, we think you can like rock it up with the U23s of Leganés. So then from that point on, I trained with Leganés U23s and trained with the academy. So I was training every single day in Spain. We were living on our own in a house in like a foreign country. It's like crazy, like just there for football. So it was awesome. Like no other obligations. So it was really amazing. Like just focus on football. And then, bro, I played in 18 games for Marist that season and had only 2 assists. And because like my confidence was so like, I knew the coach didn't have confidence in me and didn't fully believe on me. So like I'm a confidence player. So like I couldn't have full confidence in myself because I didn't feel that confidence of my coach. So I wasn't able to do as well as I could have in college soccer that season. But then this coach, for some reason in Spain, really like was always bigging me up. So then in the matches, the first match scored 2 goals, got 2 assists. And then from then on, just scored in every single match. We played in 5 matches. And then one day, the general manager of like the academy, the person who owned the academy, he had a team in fifth division in fifth division in Spain, but like they were fighting for promotion. So they were gonna go to the promotion playoffs, and they wanted some like fresh talent from the academy that he had. And like he was saying, like, this is your test to go there and prove yourself, and then like from there we'll like looking at your professional opportunities because we believe you can play professional. So then he picks 2 people out of the 50 kids who were in the academy, and I was one of the kids, me and one other American kid. So now, next part of the journey, we go to the south of Spain, and we're in the south of Spain playing with this team that's in 5th division and helping them get promoted. So they only trained 3 times per week when they trained in the evenings because people have work and things. So like I'm here in a foreign country for football, so I have to like I said, treat myself like I'm a professional. And then YouTube is a huge platform. Like something like JC Assists is like amazing because you can go there and find out things about nutrition, find out about how professionals comport themselves. And like if you're really on the track and you're really serious about it, you can follow these and use them as advice, as like literal life guidelines. And then like if you follow them diligently, like you'll get there. I believe you'll get there. So I found that there's people like Become Elite, 7MLC. This is when Nike Academy had a lot of content on their website about how to structure different training plans, like agility training, speed training, power training, fitness training. So I just did a compilation of all the things I could find on YouTube and set up my own structure to complement and supplement like the team trainings. Like the team trainings were the supplement to my individual. So like Mondays, for example, Mondays was always long distance fitness. Like that was stamina day. So you were running a lot on Monday. Then Tuesday's agility. Wednesday's speed. Thursday's power. Friday's coordination. Then Saturday and Sunday, those are the days that you would have game. So like you treat those as game days. And then on top of that, you have your team training. So that was going really well, like because I saw like huge development. I was never training like that so structured when I was home. I trained a lot, but it was like kind of training blindly. But it was there when I was alone just for football. Like I found I found the key, and I was like, okay. And that gave me exponential growth. So comes to the end of the season, we didn't win the playoff, the promotion playoff, and then the guy who owned the club kind of got rid of all those internationals. There was 4 of us, and then he was like, all right, I'm clean housing the team. So then all 4 of us didn't come back, but he was our agent technically. So he was supposed to be finding us new opportunities. So I'm there in Spain, and I'm like, yo, this guy told me, like, we had a meeting. He was like, yeah, I have pro trials lined up for you because I think you're ready for the next level. And I was like, okay. So I stayed in Spain thinking like this guy was going to hit me up and like tell me when the trials were. I would hit him up on WhatsApp. I'd call him, and then dude just didn't answer. And then I was like, oh man, okay. But then comes June 10th, my sister's coming to France for like a business summit for her job, and she's gonna be there for a week. And then my cousin comes, and he comes with me, and then we go to France. And like it's a really tough time emotionally because I'm like, yo, where is this opportunity gonna come from? Like I'm working mad hard, but it feels like I'm getting nowhere. And then literally one day after like having a huge argument like about like if this is the right path that I'm going on, like with my mom, like I just prayed and I was like, Lord, just please give me a sign, like open my eyes if I'm walking the right way. Literally I went into like a historical park inside of France, like the center of Paris, to train. I was just training on the gravel, and like lo and behold, like these 2 guys wearing Jamaican soccer shirts come, and they're like, bro, they were like, yeah, we're actually FIFA agents. And they recognized my mayor's shirt because they live in New York. And I'm like, yo, yeah. I was like, God, you're so wonderful. Thank you so much. And then guy took my information and everything, and I was in contact with him. But then I was like, yo, when I went back to Spain, I was there with my cousin. I'm like, yo, we're doing a preseason because July had just started. Usually pros preseason start like July 17th to 20th. So I'm like, yo, we have like approximately 3 weeks to get extra prepared before pros are even starting to get prepared and do a preseason. So we would go into a pro preseason season extra prepared. So I was doing that, just believing that like my pro opportunity would come. So we trained hard 2 times per day in the heat of Murcia, super hot, like 45 degrees Celsius, like every single day. And like we were just going hard, just with hope. Like we had nothing but to do, just hope that God would make a way. And then nothing happened. Nothing happened. No leads, no opportunities. So then I had to come back home. So then I came back home, and then it's like, what do we do now? Where do we go from here? Then I go back to school. I start taking classes again, go back to school. And it was hard in the beginning because I was like, yo, like this would have been my senior season. And I lost I had to give up my last year of eligibility to go to Spain. So I come back and I'm seeing all my teammates playing, and like I see my coaches are, yo, you would have been on this field for us and things like that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, oh man, did I make the wrong decision? And like I'm going to school, but I was like, nah, like I was like, God, I trusted in you, and you said that those who trust in you will never be put to shame. So we go on from here and we keep our head up. So every day I had one friend who went with me to Spain too, and he gave up his he didn't have to give up his eligibility, but he actually just left Marist because they had redshirted him. So he still had his eligibility, but I had completely lost mine. So he was looking to go to other D1 schools, but it fell out and things like that. So he went back to Marist to take classes. So we were taking classes, but we were training partners for that whole semester with this same guy who I was telling you about, the one who was our top scorer, because he was still in season. So we would train together, gym together. Like it would be training in the morning, class, then gym and training at night, like because the lights would be on. We did that for a whole semester, and I was like, this is gonna be my last semester of school, and I'm gonna go out with a bang. I'm gonna get a 4.0, and then by God's grace, by the end of this year, I'll be a professional. And my prayers were answered, and that's exactly what happened. Like I got hit up by a guy named JP Velez, who is the photographer and like editor for the videos of Soccerviza, and he told me about a Soccerviza combine in LA, and I was like, okay, no problem, like I'll go. And he's like, yeah, I think it will be a good opportunity. There's going to be a lot of pro teams. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. And then I went, and I was like, once again, Joe, I was like, yo, God, I'm trusting you. You got to have my back. And then I went, and I feel like I gave everything that I had, and I did my best. And then by God's grace, I was able to score the winning goal in the showcase match. And after that, I got offered a 1-week trial to go on trial for FC Spartak Trnava, which is in the Premier League in Slovakia. So then I go to the trial. I'm looking at their roster, and I'm seeing all these people, like these Brazilians and stuff. They're 0-1s, and they're already making their debuts in professional. I'm like, man, these guys are going to be good. And I see players who like have played Champions League and just played for Red Bull Salzburg and Rapid Vienna. I'm like, wow, I'm going to have some competition. So then I go, and I believed in myself. And like the biggest thing is I really believed that like God was going to be with me. So I went, and bro, let me tell you, I just went in there, and I was just hella fearless, because I was like, bro, nobody expects anything out of me to be here because I'm American. And they'll be like, someone said to me, it was like, yo, like in your highlight video, like, how are we supposed to take you serious? You play on a field with 100 lines. And I was like, wow, okay. So, because we play on football fields. And I was like, wow, okay. So then I just went, and I was just, bro, just going at players, being physical, scoring goals. And the coach just loved it. And the general manager just loved it. And then they signed me, took me to preseason with them in Turkey. Then we came back, and like it was harder for me. It's so weird. During trial, it was mad easy to play because I felt like there was no pressure on me. But then once I got signed, it was like I started heaping way too much pressure on myself because I tried to skip the next level. Like I told you, I didn't give myself. It's like what I did when I got from high school to college. I did the same thing when I went from college to pro. I was like, now that I'm pro here, I'm like, I'm thinking of Manchester City already. And I'm like, but like, I was like, no, like that's good to the extent to always keep your goals high, but you gotta give yourself room to learn and to grow. So then that went in the beginning it was frustrating, but then once I got my feet underneath me again, I was like, okay, now that's when, Joel, I'm telling you, that's when I started to understand football. Like, bro, like things just started to come easy. I'm like, you play with these professional players and like you just have to make the right movement and they give you the ball and then you just have to do that. And being thanks to the college system physically, it was like had a extreme advantage over a lot of guys on the team. So I was using that as an advantage. And then due to, like I told you, immense like hours and contribution of individual training, that helped technically wise to like cut you some slack for where, so physical and technical I was there, but I believe I was there, but it was tactical because I wasn't playing too many 11v11 matches. But and every single practice, at least for 40 minutes, was tactical situations. So sometimes imagine like I haven't played with 11 players in so long, so I'll be lost in the training, like just trying to find myself. But then when it finally clicked, I was like, okay, now I got it. But then right when it started to click, bang, then coronavirus hits, and then it's all on a halt. So after that, after I get my feet underneath me, coronavirus hits, bro. Oh my days. Then 2 months of individual just running training inside a little apartment, and like we were running on like a construction site, just running, doing physical training. And bro, I was just like, nah, bro. That is where me thinking of Manchester City really helped, because I was like, a lot of my teammates, the people who I was living with, they lost motivation. They're like, yo, the season's not gonna start. Like it's gonna be canceled. So like I'm gonna eat my Oreos, I'm gonna eat my chocolate, I'm gonna just chill, I'm gonna skip trainings. Like I don't have to run. I'll run when they tell us that like we have 1 week until training starts. And I was like, nah, I'm gonna go hard every single day because I see Man City already. I already smell it. So like that was my crazy mentality. So that took me in. And then when individual training started, bro, we did all the testing. And from when I came in on trial to then my fitness coach took me aside and he did a comparison on like a spreadsheet, and like all my numbers went up. And I did first on the beep test, like got like way better on my jumping, on my speed and everything. And I was like, yo, this is what the work was for. But then a huge blows, 3 blows after another. My biggest mentor on the team, his name was Bogdan Mitrea, played for Steaua Bucharest, Romanian national team contract. This guy was like, if I didn't have money because the salaries were late, like he was paying for my groceries, he was driving me from training, like so I didn't have to walk 40 minutes. Like he was taking care of me. He was literally taking time out of his day to go meet me at a restaurant to teach me tactics because he just believed in me. So then he leaves. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy just left. And I was like, all right, at least I have the coaches. The next week, sack the coaches, terminate his contract. I'm like, okay, these are 2 huge blows, but I still got one guy, the general manager, who saw me in LA. Then he gets fired. I'm like, oh my days. Like these 3 blows after another, I was like, wow, these are huge. And then new coaches come in. I'm still like, yo, I'm just gonna keep my head down and keep working. Like I'm training good when the new coaches come in. I'm training good, like, scoring my goals in training, doing good on all the physical tests, the running and like in training, I'm doing good. And then, bro, things just started turning for the worse. I'm like, yo, what's going on? How am I not getting picked? And like the players on the team are asking me like, yo, like, why are you not getting picked? Like you're playing good in training. I was like, I don't know, man. Like I'm just, you see what I'm doing. Like, and like I have no reason why. This is just up to the coaches. I can't do anything about it. And then I was starting getting like there was like personal jabs at directly me. Like one training, for instance, I was doing mad good. Like we were doing something 1v1s out wide for like the wingers, and then like you have to beat and fix your defender and get crosses in. And like I was having like very good practice that day. Very, very good practice. And like the senior players were starting defenders were like, yo, you're doing great. You're doing great. So I was like, all right. So I was getting hype off of that. And then from there, one pass, this kid passes me like a very like 50-50 ball, and then I take a touch. Defender gets a little touch on it. Then I recover the ball, play it, and then my teammate loses the ball because he goes 1v1, loses it. Coach flips out, kicks me out of practice. There's 40 minutes left in practice. He makes me run laps around the practice for 40 minutes watching my teammates. So I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay. And then the next day, we were supposed to do 11v11, and I'm on the starting striker for the second team playing against the starters. And I'm playing in mid-stride, like on a breakaway. The head coach yells and like, no, get out, put in this other guy. So now I'm on the side running with the fitness coach, and I'm like, yo, like, what is going on? Like, is it like a lack of quality? Like, what am I lacking? Like physical, technical, conditioning, tactical? Like, can I know? Because like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong that like this is only happening to me. And the fitness coach who I had known, because he was with the other coaches too, he was like, honestly, it's nothing of your own fault, but like, you know what has happened with the corona and with the change of regime, and these people are trying to bring in their own players, and they're trying to start from scratch and start with a new philosophy. And like, you just got to go talk with the coaches to figure out where your stance is. And so then I was like, I've tried to, like, I asked them like, yo, what can I do to get into the lineup? What can I do to improve? Like, can I have your opinion? They'll be like, oh, we'll talk tomorrow. Then I'll go tomorrow. They'll be like, all right, we'll talk after training. Then after training, I'll be like, can we talk? And they'll be like, all right, we'll talk tomorrow. They're just avoiding it. And then he's like, all right, I'll set it up for you. So then I go and then I set it up. And then they basically tell me like, yo, like the club is going through a lot of financial problems right now. And like, we have an excess amount of internationals, and like, you're one of the youngest internationals, and you know, like, you haven't gotten your debut yet and things like that. And like, I respect that, but I was like, if you guys don't believe in my potential or my quality, like, I'm going to take it and hold on to that. Because one, like, when I came in here straight fresh from USA, just straight from college, not even on a college team for a whole year, just from training on my own, like, I came, and the players who were here were proven in the league and had way bigger pedigree and all this stuff. And like, if I had to compete with them, like, when they say when you come into Europe, if you're an international, like, you have to be 2 to 3 times better than the people who are already here to get in. So then that means I had to have proven that to have gotten in, especially when there's already excess internationals. For them to take more just because of me, that means that there was something in me that was quality. So like, I'm going to hold on to that. And I know that because like, the senior players on this team have told me that I have potential to make it to the highest level. So I was like, okay. So I was like, if you guys don't believe in me, I believe in myself. I respect your decision. I respect your situation. And so I decided, after I spoke with my pastors, my family, and agents and advisors, decided that it would be the best to leave that place, because they were going through like a toxic like takeover and like rebuild. So I was like, all right, I'll go home, recharge. I know it's COVID back there, but like, I've been through worse. Like, my times in Spain taught me about how to just stay focused and just stay diligent and just keep training, and it'll come. So I was like, and plus I was like, I believe the God who did it for me then, even when I had less connections. So I was like, he'll do it again and do it better. So I was like, I have no doubt that I'm going to be back in this game. So I went home, went to my sister's wedding, and ever since then, just been playing, training. Then I got an opportunity from my best friend. He was playing for FC Buffalo, and they were playing in the NISA Members Cup. So they were the only people having matches really around here for something that was competitive. And they said they were playing against Cleveland, which was in the MPSL Final Four, so a decent team. And then against Detroit City FC, which is in the NISA League, which is a professional team. So I was like, of course I'll go. So I went and I trained with them I had one training session with them, then went straight into the game against Cleveland, played well. I believe I played well in the game against Cleveland. It was my first 90-minute match in like 2 years. So like, I played, what I had to do was run in past players, was I got a guy sent off. Like, we were playing good, but we ended up losing that match, unfortunately. And then we went and then we played against Detroit, and I feel like against the Detroit team, that was like, it's like, all right, this is my competition. These people are professionals. But then I was like, yo, this is nothing compared to like what it was back in Europe. So I'm like, yo, like that was like I was playing with like some fire in that game. So like I played really well against the Detroit team, even though we lost. Because like the loss was like, yes, I'm a competitor, so I hate to lose, but some of the players, one, they don't play soccer competitively completely, and like, or two, they're younger, so they don't really understand the football. And those guys are all professionals. And the biggest thing they had on most of our team was fitness. So, because they were about to start their season. So that was a huge positive. And I just came off of that. That was last weekend. So I'm feeling great, back in training hard. And like I said, just believing that the opportunity is going to come. And I do believe it's coming. So I have hope that I'll be back in the game soon. But that's the long story.
A very long story.
Very long story.
But yeah, that's good because I think a lot of people would understand. Well, younger players will learn more about what you're saying and see that it's not that easy. People think you just wake up, go to high school, do well, and you're automatically worthy of going to a high professional team in Europe, when that's not the case. And even if you do get that slim opportunity like you got in college and then with Soccerviza, when you get there, it's another story. It's never going to be an easy road, especially from an outside perspective going into their realm, especially because even like you can be way better than them, and then you hear that because it's a foreigner type thing, or the fact that you're not in the EU, which is one of the big things learned
Yeah,
through.
bro.
You'd have an EU passport, you're already behind the curve, and that's
Mm-hmm.
very frustrating. So that's not something easy to deal with. But another question I had for you was, what was your driving force that like kept you focused on the fact that you wanted to be a pro from your young to right now, where you still have that drive, even though you've been through so much?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so when I would like to say when I was probably like 12 or so. My mom one time told me that she had a dream um she was in a stadium and I had finished a match, and then like some big like agent or like owner people came up to her and were like, yo, like they gave her a suitcase and like, this is our gift to you because like we want to sign your son because we think that he's gonna be like a superstar or something. So then I remember that, and I was like, ever since then I was like, yo, I think this is like my calling. And I always felt like, because like God had always shown me favor concerning this sport, like everywhere I needed it and everywhere I went, like I knew that there was something bigger in this sport for me. Like soccer is more than a sport. It's like, it's even more than life. I feel like it's my calling, it's my duty, because like it provides a platform to me, for me to give, like I told you, like maybe kids who are similar to me. Like, okay, not everybody may be a Christian, because I take faith very serious, but everybody, majority of people have faith. So I want to show in my journey through like the hard stuff, the good stuff, that like my faith in God was my biggest motivation. Like it sounds cliche, but if I'm being honest, if it wasn't for that, Joel, I think maybe I would have been broken at certain points, because certain things like one of the coaches told me that like, yo, you should never play football again. Like you should go and play athletics because you can't play football. And I'm like, what else? Like, but that morning I had done my morning devotion, and like the literal scripture that came to my head was in Psalms 3, and it says that many are they who rise up against me, and many are they who say that there's no hope for you in God. But it says, but thou, O Lord, are a shield for me, and you're my glory and the lifter of my head. Like in that moment when I could have had my head down and think that there's no opportunity for glory, like I'm full of shame, like that's when I was like, yo, okay, Lord, you're my glory and you're the one who lifts up my head. So I like, and my grandma instilled that into me. Like she came to the US to live with us when in my senior year of high school. And from my senior year going, like soccer became like super serious and started going way up. And like she was teaching me things, and like these things, like taking the word of God serious, like it helped me and like protected my heart, like emotionally, and my mind, and also gave me that motivation. And I feel like there's too many of me out there in the world who maybe don't have me to tell them that like, yo, you don't have to give up. Like God will make a way for you. Just trust and have hope, like, because faith can go a long way. So I see it a lot in our generation. People give up way too easy, man. People who have potential too, they just are like, nah, bro, like, it's gonna be way too much work, and I'm not trying to do that work. But like, I want people to know that it's worth it. It's worth it to put in the work. And like you said, a lot of young kids think like, oh, let me just get in D1 and then I'm pro automatic. Like, no, I want them to know, like, because I know you know too, like, this is a lot of work and this is a lot of sacrifice, bro. So you got to be willing to put that in. So that's always been my main motivation. And because like I know there's just so many, like, there's so many dimensions to God. Like, my motivation just never loses, because I always feel like if I have him on my side, that I have hope. So because of that, I never ever fully lose hope. Even in the worst situations, I still like, nah, it'll come. It'll come. So yeah, that's one of my biggest motivations.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the things I wanted to talk about was
Mm-hmm.
the dimensions that I put on JC Assist. One of them was spiritual dimension, and I think that has been your pillar throughout your life. And I
Mm-hmm.
wanted you to more talk about it than me to say, but just listening to your story, I saw that and I realized that, and I respect that, because
Mm-hmm.
people think it's just the physical dimension. You training, you go ahead, and you think that you will be where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
But you can think about it in a spiritual sense, where you're gonna have these tough times where your mental state won't be there,
Mm-hmm.
your emotional won't be there, and you have to rely on your faith, because that will help you drive to the next level or keep
Exactly.
you on water where things
Mm-hmm.
can really feel like it drowning you. Even for me,
Exactly.
I'm feeling similar, but I know that there's also other dimensions in my life where I can think about, as opposed to just me thinking about me being the best footballer in terms of training and kicking the ball and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think about your entire lifestyle. It's not just how you play on the field. So I totally agree with you. I think, and I don't think it's cliche. I think you having that spiritual background, it definitely helped you. And I
For
respect
sure.
that. And I think a lot of players will see that. And it's not to say I am going to advocate for you to everybody to be Christian or so, but to
Mm-hmm.
have something definitely helps you to go through these tough times. Because
Exactly.
any normal person would say you're crazy to be going to Spain, going to Slovakia, and still coming back and still thinking you can go to a professional level. A lot of people would have given up, but you still have that faith in you that you can go to another place and make it somewhere and improve those people around, those people that quit on
Mm-hmm.
you. So I really
Exactly.
respect it, honestly.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro.
Where do you see yourself 5 years down the line? Like the
Mm-hmm.
best opportunities. This is everything going perfectly well for you, no mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
What is your biggest dreams? Don't hesitate on it.
Okay. So like I told you, you know this from this conversation. I told you I always be thinking steps ahead. So when I was in quarantine, I made a list of countries where I want to play, and I was like, yo, these are the countries where I want to play, and Lord, you're gonna take me there. So I'll put on the game. I'll pray, Lord, you're taking me there. We're watching it now, but soon we're gonna be there. So I picked Holland, I picked England, I picked France, and I picked Spain. So if it goes my way, I want to start in a team in Ligue 1 or in Eredivisie, because these leagues are notable leagues, but not the biggest leagues. So if you start at a team there, like my two teams that I said I wanted to start at are Ajax, because very historic, and Monaco, which breeds like superstars. So those were my two teams. So in the next year or two, I want to attain to a level of Ajax or Monaco. And then from there, I want to attain to either a Premier League, like one in the ages of like 25 to 28, I want to aim for a Premier League team. Any team from the top six: Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea, United, City, Liverpool. but my team of heart is Chelsea. I love Chelsea from the jump. I'm a Chelsea fan. So that would be a dream come true, Chelsea. And then my ultimate goal is to play for Real Madrid. Even though I love Barcelona, Real Madrid, because Real Madrid is like the pinnacle. If you get to Real Madrid, then you've reached like the zenith of football.
Just to
So
correct you, I don't think Arsenal is in the top 6 this season. But
yeah. Okay, I give them too much credit.
we understand what you mean, though. But that's so
Yeah.
for you, Madrid is a 5-year end goal, and you should always stay positive on that. Nobody can tell you that, or nobody should be able to tell you that you can't do it. I really believe I've always had that belief for myself as well, and that's what these young players should have. Stay positive. Don't get arrogant or anything like that. Enjoy each step of the journey, but always have big dreams because final words for the fans.
I want to tell the fans that if they're not subscribed to JC Assist, they better subscribe now. They have to like every video and share it on every platform that they have, because this is really gold, man. He gives you training, he gives you like pro insight, and then he also gives you one thing that is rare, like someone getting other pros on. People are just now starting to do that, but you give kids a platform of pros from different levels telling their different stories and like what they go through. I think if there was more of that, more of pros opening up when we were younger, it would have been like, I would have been at least like more mentally prepared for what I would go through. Because like you said, there's a lot of delusion thinking that like you just need to attain to one level and then everything is smooth from there. Like that's not how it works. So I think like your platform, like you said, because you highlight on things like the different dimensions of life, not only are you preparing footballers for a journey in football, but you're preparing young boys or girls for growth as people, because the more they're aware that there are different dimensions to life, the more they can actively take strides to develop themselves in those ways so that they're not locking and that overall they're well-rounded. So I think that is priceless information, especially on YouTube, when we see a lot of stuff that is not necessarily beneficial, but this is very beneficial. And I think a lot of people, especially young people, can grow from this. And not even just young people, all people. So whoever gets the time to listen to what Joel has to say, I know you're going to be blessed and I know you're going to grow. So that's what I got to say. And I just want to say thank you, of course, because you're a big bro. Like one of the few people who were messaging me like, I feel like every time that it was like a low or dark moment, I'd get a message from Joel and I'd be like, yo, this is just what I want to hear. Like I know I got someone who I could talk to and like tell and like give genuine advice too. Genuine advice. So I just want to thank you for everything. And for a fact, we're going to stay in touch. And for a fact, by God's grace, we're going to play in the Prem together. So we just keep working.
Hey, David, thanks for your time. And I'll
Of course,
definitely
bro.
get another thing. So this is supposed to be the interview based on what I thought questions might be that players would ask. But I'm going to have a open question dialogue type thing where they're going to ask me questions and I'm going to ask you in a follow-up interview. Not sure the day it will be, but I'll definitely keep in touch and let you know. So,
whenever you want, I got you, bro.
All right, no problem, man. Thank you.
Of course.
All right, I'll see you around.
Have a good night, bro.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.